If you own a boat or you're thinking of buying one, there are people and organizations ready, able, and willing to teach you safe boating, and in some cases for free. Next. So, how was that?
This is Captain's Log with your host, Captain Mark Gray. Welcome aboard. Blending comfort, performance, and value, Catalina Yachts continue a tradition of building outstanding sailboats in every class. Sail the Catalina 30 and experience the successful combination of a modern, efficient hull shape with spacious accommodations that create the perfect balance in a modern racer cruiser. America's largest sailboat manufacturer invites you to call a Catalina yacht dealer in your area today.
Our guest is Mr. John White of the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Could you tell us something about your boating experience, a brief history, sir?
Well, of course, I'm retired Navy. I did 20 years of active duty in the Navy, but I've been very active with the Coast Guard Auxiliary since, well, the past 33 years now, doing all types of work, teaching. Teach boating classes for the Coast Guard Auxiliary, search and rescue work with my boat. I presently have a radio station in my home that is a backup station to the Coast Guard station at Channel Islands Harbor. I also stand radio watches down there at the station to help out.
The Coast Guard station?
The Coast Guard station at Channel Islands, yes.
Right, that's quite an extensive history in boating. It's kind of like some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. You must have been born in a boat.
Well, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it.
That's what I find.
What it amounts to.
Boating's enjoyable, especially if you can make it safe and happy. Could you tell us something about the history of the Coast Guard Auxiliary?
Well, actually, the Coast Guard Auxiliary started as a temporary reserve during World War II, and after the war was over, it switched over from temporary reserve to Coast Guard Auxiliary, and it's been growing ever since. Matter of fact, we have more people in the Coast Guard Auxiliary than they have in the active Coast Guard.
Right. What is the function of the Coast Guard Auxiliary? I'm sure you have several different things that you do.
Well, basically, the job of the Coast Guard Auxiliary is to promote boating safety. However, we teach boating safety courses. We inspect boats at the owner's request.
Could you tell us about that, what that inspection entails?
Well,
for a new person that just bought a boat, you know, what's entailed there?
Well, it's a form that we go through at, again, and it must be at the owner's request. And there is no penalty. I'd like to make sure that's understood. There is no penalty if we find that, let's say, for example, he is missing a fire extinguisher. We tell him about it, and we just don't present them with the safety decal for their boat. They get a fire extinguisher, then we can do it.
But they don't get a ticket or anything? Like
no,
that.
If the Coast Guard, regular Coast Guard does it, yes, there would
then
be a
A
citation.
mm-hmm.
But ours is a liaison job between the boater and the Coast Guard.
Mm-hmm. And on top of these examinations, what other functions do you do? Or I understand you have boats that go out and have something to do with helping boaters when they're in trouble?
Yes, we maintain our own private vessels as Coast Guard auxiliary vessels, and they must have a qualified crew aboard of auxiliaries, and we do go out on search and rescue work as assigned by, by the Coast Guard.
So they'll tell you that a boat's missing in
Yes.
Santa Cruz Island, and would you please assist? How
Yes.
many boats do you have here locally in Channel Islands that are in that?
Well, right at the moment, about, I would say 15.
That's quite a few. It
Yes.
gives, it's nice to have a few extra hands.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've seen them out there where you do wear your life jackets when you're working in official capacity, and you also have signs that you put up on the boat,
Yes.
right? So it's really nice for the other boaters to know that, hey, let's stay out of these guys' way.
The only time that boat is qualified to have that sign on there is he under cut orders. In other words, excuse me, a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary on official patrol, a cut order patrol, is actually a Coast Guard vessel. And should anything happen to that vessel, or the expenses of that vessel for that day are picked up by the Coast Guard.
So their gas is paid by the
Yes.
Coast Guard, and should the vessel, because a lot of emergencies do happen in bad weather,
Yes.
should the vessel be sunk or break up or have problems, then the Coast Guard covers that.
Yes.
That's pretty nice to know for some boaters out there that might want to get in touch with the auxiliary
Yeah.
that have a boat and wouldn't mind lending their expertise and services to a worthwhile cause. What other functions does the auxiliary handle other than education, the boating, and then the inspection?
Well, we also have aircraft, auxiliary aircraft. Membership in the auxiliary is based on, first of all, you must be a citizen 17 years of age or older. You must own 25% of a boat, amateur radio station, aircraft, or have some other special qualification, such as a doctor or a scuba diver, that type of thing that we can use in the process of doing our job for the Coast Guard.
An average person without a boat and without a ham station perhaps couldn't join because...
Yes, you could. If he had, for example, as I say, if he was a scuba diver, a doctor, and right offhand I can't think of others, but I know there are
a lot of
others.
people don't think that their skill can be applied, but even secretaries or anything, I'm sure that you can find a place for them.
Absolutely, because the ratio has changed just recently, but the ratio used to be you had to have 4 crewmen aboard. Well, you got one boat owner, and the rest of them are crewmen. Where are you going to get them?
So you need other members, right?
People that are not boat owners as well. Yeah.
Right. Do you have women in the Coast Guard?
Absolutely. Women, Coast Guard Auxiliary is an equal opportunity employer, yeah.
Well, what we'll be doing after the break, we'll be going into the different types of education that the Coast Guard Auxiliary offers and the free boating classes versus if you join an advanced education, what have you. But briefly, could you just touch on the topic areas gone over in your classes?
In the boating class, well, it is
in about a minute.
It is a basic
overview.
boating class, and we start with really the basics of it, rules of the road, aids to navigation, engines, navigation, charts and compass, the locks and dams. In some cases,
Such as in Florida where they have
we don't teach it here because there are no locks and dams.
Yeah, but
it
someone
is-
might travel to Florida, so
Yes.
you have the minor, you have some information on that.
Well, the book that we use to teach with is published by the Coast Guard and is used nationwide, the same book. So and we are instructing everybody in the same manner.
Well, we're going to really get into these classes when we come back after the break, which is Boatin Motion, Boating Fashion in Motion, which is sponsored and coordinated by Miss Donna Russell of Ventura Bikini. We'll be back after this.
Marina sailing, experience it, the vacation of a lifetime. Islands to explore, sheltered coves to discover, clear water to enjoy. You say you don't know how to sail? Well, that's okay, because we've been teaching people to sail for over 25 years. In fact, we're California's oldest and largest sailing club with 70 boats and 3 locations to serve you. Come on down. Take the challenge. We're Marina Sailing.
We're back with Boshan Moshan, Boating Fashion in Motion. Donna, could you tell me how you find so many beautiful models, or do they find you?
Well, Mark, it's really both. Almost all of our models come in and buy their bathing suits at the shop, and we have just taken pictures and kind of go from there. That's where we get the majority.
Good way to find it. I thought your son was rather busy on his weekends or something.
Yes, he does find a lot of our models too.
Okay, well, thank you. It's time to get on with the show.
Alrighty. Our first model today is Kevin McCallum. He's wearing a Ventura bikini shirt. It also comes in a sweatshirt. We also have sweatpants to go with all of the outfits. He's wearing Flojo shoes. Very nice club shorts. And I'd like you to introduce yourself, Kevin.
Hello, my name's Kevin McCallum.
And you can tell he's from Australia.
Yes, Sydney, Australia.
Kevin, could you tell us how you came to model for Ventura Bikini?
Well, it was very fortunate that Donna found me sleeping on a couch this morning and dragged me along today.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Our next model is Dana Russell. She's wearing a raisin bathing suit. It's got the triangle top. It has the tie on one side that makes it very nice to stay in place. You can adjust it on your hip and it'll just stay right there. Very nice high suit, high in the front and back, and the triangle top is the best suit for an active top. Dana, could you tell us what your plans are for the future?
I plan to go to Santa Barbara and go to college.
Thank you very much, Dana. Our next model is Cherie Bouchard. She's wearing a Jag monokini. It's with the mint on the top, the black on the bottom. Very nice active suit. It comes in many different color combinations that you can put together. One thing that's ideal about these suits, and they are very popular this year, is they stay in place. They're very functional as a one-piece, but you get the same kind of a tan you would as with a two-piece. Cherie, could I have you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Cherie Bouchard.
And Cherie, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I like going to the beach and going to parties.
Thank you very much, Cherie. Our next model is Rose. Rose is wearing an Island Girl monokini. This also comes in quite a few different colors. Very nice and high on the side. It's good for windsurfing, just regular surfing, all kinds of active sports. Very good colors for Rose Simmons. Thank you, Rose. Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Rose Simmons.
And Rose, what are your plans for modeling in the future?
I really don't have any. I'm just taking it as it comes.
Great. Thank you very much, Rose. And back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Donna. We're back with Mr. John White of the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Could you tell us about the different types of classes? For instance, you have the basic boating course, which is 1 hour per week, the classes.
No, generally it would be 3 hours a night.
3 hours a night.
1 night a week.
1 night a
of
week.
course. Yes.
For how many weeks?
We cover
like 10 weeks, or is it 20 weeks long for the basic boating?
with the doing the entire course and the examination. You have to pass the examination when you get through. It takes 13 weeks. But then I teach an additional 4 weeks after that in nothing but navigation.
That's fantastic. And that's my next question. What are the additional classes after that you can take right up into advanced? For instance, if I were a new boater and I took the basic class first, what would be my next step?
Well, with that basic class, really, for example, it has boat handling in it. A lot of people don't have the slightest idea how a boat handles. The stern of the boat moves, the bow doesn't. you drive your car, you turn it away from the curb. Well, you can't do that with a boat.
Right. But let me look at it from this perspective. Like, say that I finished the first boating classes, which are free to the public, right?
Yes.
Although there is a minor charge for materials.
For
I
the
believe.
book, yes.
Right, which is not that much at all. And the 13 weeks that have gone by, I've gotten my certificate. And with that, I can get a credit on my insurance now with that certificate. What would be the next group of classes I would take? Would that be the 4 weeks of navigation that you teach after that, or 4 classes?
Well, that would be an advanced course, yes. Public-wise, after the 4 weeks of navigation, public-wise, there wouldn't be much of anything as far as the Coast Guard Auxiliary is concerned. However, if they join the Coast Guard Auxiliary, then we have quite extensive courses.
Right. What is involved in joining, other than we've already gone over, you know, have the boat or this or that? What are the dues like per year?
Well, the dues will depend entirely on what area you joined in.
For instance,
but they
here.
are very, very small. We pay in my flotilla, which is 72. Our dues are $15 a year.
Not bad at all.
No.
No problem. Okay, what are the advanced courses? Now I'm a member. I joined the auxiliary. I have my certificate. What advanced courses would you suggest I start with, being new to boating?
Well, the biggest thing that's going on in the auxiliary right now, the members of the Coast Guard Auxiliary are becoming boat qualified. Now that is people earning the SAR coxswain's pin.
You call that boat qualified?
Yes, the members of the Coast Guard Auxiliary go through a program identical to the members of the members of the regular Coast Guard. It's the identical boat qualification program.
How long does that take?
Oh, it can take you anywhere from 6 months to a year.
Do you have to go to some boot camp or something for that? Or?
Well, no, there are programs. Mr. Beglin, Chief Warrant Officer Beglin, the skipper of the Coast Guard station at Channel Islands, has offered to help us up here. The people down in Long Beach train in the central area at Terminal Island. But here, we're kind of on our own up here, and Mr. Beglin has helped us out. And we actually qualify in just all
phases.
All phases. You have to first become a qualified crewman,
and then you can go on.
You have to know how to handle all the safety equipment aboard a boat. Where are the life jackets kept? Can you moor a boat? This type of thing.
Okay, that's excellent. Let me ask this. Would it be, you and I both know that if I'm a new boat buyer, right? I just bought that first boat and I want to be safe. I joined the Coast Guard Auxiliary. I come down for the free class, boating class. It's 1 hour or 3 hours per week. And you know, every weekend I'm going to be out at the islands on my boat, right? Is there any possibility that perhaps in the future you'll be putting this on videotape for, you know, so that the people can go through the classes quicker and take a test? Is that possible, or do you foresee that?
I could see that it could be a possibility in the future, yes. It would be an excellent program for people, but at the moment, some of it is on video. We did one here on the helo. You have to qualify in the helo hoist, for example.
In the helicopter hoist that takes up in the air.
There's that's a very tricky thing, that hoist.
I've seen that video, and it goes up and comes off the man. Yeah.
Well, if, for example, a boater though that maybe, let's say you're out there and you have somebody has a heart attack, and you call for that chopper as a medevac, what we call a medevac case. For example, they will lower that basket. Don't grab it, because there's static electricity in it. And let them put the basket in the water first. They'll put it in the water and then put it on board your boat.
Okay, I do appreciate your coming today. We're out of time, but I do advise people to contact your local Coast Guard Auxiliary or call the Coast Guard and ask where your local one might be. We'll have Sea Tales up next, true stories from the ocean. After this.
Harbor Village is a colorful waterfront complex with over 40 varieties of shops, international cuisine, and even a nostalgic carousel just for fun. Whether you take a harbor cruise or just watch the fishermen unload their catch of the day, it's a great place for the whole family. Ventura Harbor Village, located on Spinnaker Drive in the Ventura Harbor. Public docks are available for those coming by boat.
Sailing to a blue horizon where the ocean meets the sky. Looking to a new tomorrow, a life for you and I. Let our imagination set the course along the way. We'll reach our destination along the road from yesterday. Oh, sail away with me. Forever with you is where I want to be. Have you ever touched a rainbow?
Our Seatails guest today is Captain Paul McCauley of the National Boat Owners Association. I believe you're the vice president, right, Paul?
That's right.
And could you tell us a sea tale, a true story that might save someone's life or have a little safety message to it?
Yeah, well, I have a sailboat now, and I have a partner. I've had the boat for many years, and my partner, he isn't as experienced as I am in the ocean, and we have one of these convenient roller furling foresails, which is it's a convenience, but when you get into any kind of heavy weather, they can become a problem.
Could you explain to someone that never touched a boat what it is? It's on a sailboat, the front sail.
Roller furling is the forward sail on the boat. Instead of lowering it, raising it, you can roll it up, and it rolls up right on the wire. And so you just roll it out, and when you're done with it, you roll it back in.
How's that done?
It's done by just little pulleys, and you can do it from the cockpit of the sailboat. But when you get into heavy wind, and you got that big sail out, sometimes it jams up getting back in. And he was out on a cruise with some friends who were all non-boaters, and he was out between here and the islands, very close to Anacapa Island, when the wind blew up, which happens frequently out here. You'll be in 10, 15 knots of wind, and before you know it, you're in 25, 30 knots of wind. And if you don't anticipate it and get that sail in, you have a real problem in the heavy wind. He got it halfway in and it jammed. The system jammed, and he gave one of his girlfriend the tiller to sail the boat. Now he's in 25 knots of wind with 4 or 5 foot seas, and he goes up forward to try to unjam the roller furling system with no life jacket on, no lifeline, no nothing, with all amateurs in the boat. And when I heard the story after he'd come back, luckily he got up there. He did not save the sail. The sail was torn to shreds by the time he was done, but he almost fell over the side of the boat.
Which would have really been disastrous with amateurs on the boat. And I would assume he did not show them how to operate the boat or use the radio.
At that point in time, there wasn't enough time. Everything was happening so fast, and he made a couple of bad judgments, and luckily they all came through it okay. But had he fallen over the side, these people would have been up there with the sails still up.
Just going.
In 25 knots of wind, and he's over the side, and
they probably wouldn't have thought enough and quick enough to throw a life jacket over to him or anything.
Possibly, hopefully they would have, but even still, it could have been disastrous. And it was all because of a roller furling system and the convenience of it, but people don't understand the danger of it.
I would almost say, in part, obviously a lack of experience and training perhaps came into play also.
Right.
You know, not all the fault of the roller furling. What I always tell people and my friends is always have less sail up than you need. That's a good way to do it. In other words, take the sail down before you have to, because when you have to, chances are, you know, it's just too horrendous to try to do all that. And another thing, perhaps he could have just dropped the sail. It would have been a lot easier, right?
That's exactly what he should have done. Instead of going up there and fooling with it, he should have pulled it right back out, gone up there and dropped it just like a normal sail. It didn't even occur to him. And a lot of people, I believe, that have roller furling, it doesn't occur to them that
That the
that's
sail
thing you
comes
do.
off, yeah.
You pull it back out, instead of fooling with it, you pull it back out and drop it like a normal sail, and you're done with it. Instead of going up there and trying to monkey with it in 5-6 foot seas and possibly hurting yourself or falling over the side.
I think another good point too, you know, because no one can be an expert. You just go out on the water and all of a sudden you're expert. You know, you're always learning. I don't know of an expert that knows everything. But I would say this, a good point when you're taking out friends is to show them how to operate the radio, how to operate the engine, you know, what makes the boat start and stop. As a matter of fact, I recommend to people that they, you know, go somewhere, get a video camera if you can, and tape your particular engine and your boat, you know, let people watch it. And then when they go out on the boat, before you leave the dock, show them all the stuff that they saw on the tape. The reason for that is they can watch tape 2 or 3 times, the day before they go out or a week before.
Oh, that's true.
We're out of time, so I have to thank you, Paul. This has been Captain's Log. And remember, show those people how to work your radio and all that. And be safe. Watch Captain's Log.